Okay, hello students. We'll continue our body language part 2. In the previous class, we have learned about kinesic. In that, we have seen the body language, right? Body language in the sense the facial expression, gestures, body gestures, and you can say the eye contact. These all we have discussed, right? What defensiveness is, what are signals of a confident person, and in this class we were discussing miss we are going to discuss about the proxemics means a distance maintained while we communicate with the other person. Yes, so it differs from country to country, you can say. There is a lot of cultural difference. So in our country, as I said in the previous class, that in India, the space between when you communicate with the persons, the space is less comparing with the other countries like America and Britain. Now we'll see the picture. As I said, that proxemics is a direct question. Proxemics is a direct question, and you have to go through this. What you can say in the introduction part, you have a picture also regarding it. Yes, this is the picture you have to draw, and this is showing the space what we maintain when we communicate. So this is the intimate space. It is somewhat 1.5 feet difference. Next one is the personal space. Yeah, no, it's an intimate space. You don't have much difference here. The personal space is 1.5 feet. Social space is 4 feet. Am I going wrong? Yes, let me correct it again. Sorry. So here they have given the intimate space of 1.5 feet, personal space of 4 feet, social space of 12 feet, and public space of 25 feet. Yes, this is the distance we have to maintain while communicating. Now we'll see the each space in detail. First one is the intimate space. In intimate space up to 18 inches, only family members, close friends and selected persons are allowed to enter. These selected persons are special people as they enjoy special status. Means you are so closely bond with them. You have a close bonding with them. It is a blood relation they are talking about the close friends, right? For communication, either silence or at the most whispered words are used. For communication, you can't whisper in their ears, right? That is possible only in the intimate space. Handshakes, patting on the back or shoulders are quite noticed in this space, right? That is the first one, intimate space. Second one is a personal space. Next to intimate space is a personal space extending from 18 inches to 4 feet, meant for conversation with peers. Yes, a same similar age group, friends, and trustworthy colleagues whom you trust. Here, talking is permitted in spontaneous and unprogrammed way in relaxed and casual mood. So here you can talk in a very relaxed and in a casual mood or casual language. Means there is no particular restriction in your way of talking. The social space extending from 4 to 12 feet is used for formal and official relationship. Social space for official and formal relationship. Most of the business is done within this area, while feelings and emotions are shared to intimate in intimate and or personal zones. Thinking rules were over emotion in social space. So there is no space for emotion in the social space, but feelings and emotions plays a role in the intimate space. Most of the communication in social space is with reason and planning. Without reason they won't talk, or without any planning, they won't gather, right? Compared with the intimate and personal zone, communication becomes relatively formal in this space or zone. So social space, you can see, more formal. It is a more formal one comparing with the other two, previous other two. Last one is the public space. Public space of 12 feet or more up to eyesight, means up till where your eye can see, and hearing is meant for public meetings, like in the open ground. Here communication is very formal. The communication is what? Not formal, it is very formal, right? It's objective. For what purpose they are conducting that meet? Detached. They don't. There is no means no role of emotion there, and dispassionate. It doesn't have any passion for it. In this space, informal talks are avoided. So informal talk is meant for the intimate space and for the social sorry public what is that, our personal zone space. But here informal talk is avoided, right? You have to maintain the language, because you have to what you have to you should not hurt the people by your way of talking. The distance maintained by people during communication in office and elsewhere tells a lot about their relationship. Similarly, authority, power, status, what are the things? Authority, power, and status can be indicated by the location of the office and its sitting arrangement. So what is so is said that it's in a public meeting, or if it is a what you can say, the public space is between the office in the office, means if in a big company or industry, definitely the people who are in power, that means who is a boss, definitely there is a lot of variation in their sitting arrangement too. Next topic we are going to deal with it is netiquette. It is another soft skill, right? You might have heard the word etiquette. Etiquette, the manners, how you move when you talk to a person, right? What manners you show while communicating with the other person, right? In the same way, etiquette means how you are, how your behavior is, how your conduct is when you are talking on a internet, right? The users of internet are known as netizens, right? And the manners what we use while communicating with the person through online is known as a netiquette. Now we'll see, this is also same. Emotional intelligence and netiquette are both internal choice question, right? You can either go for an emotional intelligence or you can go with an netiquette. You can go with a netiquette. So the netiquette is a direct question. Here you have 22 to 25 points which you have to go through it, and the topic is going to be very easy and it is very related to you, right? See, netiquette is a set of rules of manners and conduct observed while communicating on the internet. This is the definition, you can say. The very first line is the definition of netiquette. What it is? It is a set of rules of manners and conduct observed while communicating on the internet. When you're communicating directly to the person, that is known as etiquette. When you're communicating on the internet, what is those internet facilities, using email, voicemail, etc., that is known as netiquette. In other words, etiquette to be observed and followed by netizens. What do you have to follow? Etiquette means the manners to be observed and followed by the netizens. Netizens means the person who uses the internet is known as netiquette. So this is going to be your definition. Now some important rules of netiquette are listed below. The first one, Be duly informed about computer and internet vocabulary. The person who is chatting on the internet or sending a mail, he should be properly informed about the computer and internet vocabulary. Second one, be informed about high tech punctuations like underscore, appropriate use of italics, and what acronyms like HTML, CML, and CD-ROM stands for. So the person, the candidate should know the meaning of these acronyms too. What do you mean by acronym? See, if you see this one, HTML, hypertext markup language. So what they have done, instead of writing two lengthy word, they have just taken the first letter of every word, and it is known as an acronym. It is known as an acronym. Abbreviation is different from acronym. SARC, if you see the example of a SARC, SARC is also a acronym of the bigger word, right? CML. So this is the second point. The person has to know about the computer punctuations and the acronyms. Third point is avoid short forms. As you are habituated to type messages on your mobiles, yeah, you have just forget the original spelling of a word. For good morning, what you're doing, GD or GUD, like morning, MRNG, these are the short forms you are using. But when you are using this internet, then what you have to say, see, you have to avoid such type of shortcuts. It, especially when you're communicating, when your communication is a formal communication, when you're chatting with your friends, it's okay. When you're chatting with your family members, it's okay. But when you are communicating officially, then you have to avoid such type of short forms. BCNU means be seeing you, or IMHO means in my humble opinion. During formal communication, this you have to avoid. Even in the examination also, when you write the answers for between, what you do, B/W, this is not recommended. You have to write the complete spelling of that particular word. So day by day, what is happening is the students are forgetting the original spelling of the word. So what is the fourth point? Plan and focus on what you need to express. See, first thing what you have to do is planning what you want to express, or what you, for which purpose you are sending an mail, or for which purpose you are communicating. Next one, prioritize your need for information. Okay, for what information you are means talking to them, that you have to give importance. It is preferable to use a 24-hour military time format while communicating on the internet, because if you compare the Indian timing with the foreign America timing, there is a variation of almost 12 hours, or it can be more than that. So the person may get confused. Instead of that, if you maintain the military timing, or you can say the railway timing, then the person can easily come to know. So you have to change your time to the military timing or a railway timing. Assign priority. Give priority to emails such as high, normal, or low. Yes, you have to divide it into three parts, whether it is of high importance, or it's a normal, or it's going to be a low one. Compose compact and meaningful messages. What it is? Compact, short, and meaningful messages. In the sense, short means it should not be too short to make the other person confused what you really mean by giving that message. So short means it should give a clear message, not with the too lengthy sentences. The shorter your message is, the more likely it is that they will be read and understood. But do not make them so short that they are abrupt. It seems that it is very suddenly stopped or unclear, right? It should not give any, it should not create any space for ambiguous. Use full sentences and explain clearly. Remember to pass a paragraph just the same as in other business letters. If you want to write in different paragraphs, you have to divide it in the form of a paragraph. See, paragraph is another topic that we are going to deal in our next class, and we'll come to know what paragraph actually means, what the purpose of writing the things in paragraph. Yeah. Next point is use short and concise sentence. Tapping away at the keyboard as you think it is easy to allow sentence to become too long. If you just go on typing, then definitely the sentences are going to be too lengthy. If the sentence is too lengthy, the person may forget what he has read in the first part. So it's better to go with a short and concise sentences, brief sentences. Read through your message carefully and improve clarity and understanding. Means you have to do the proofreading part when you have done completed the work before sending it, right? So avoid double spacing. What thing you have to avoid here is avoid double spacing the entire email message. You have to avoid that double spacing. Present your messages attractively. Okay, it should be an attractively. Use numbers, bullets, or subheadings if possible, if required. This will add to the clarity of your message, right? If you are listing the giving the indent, then instead of writing in a horizontal manner, you have to show in the form of this way. Then it will show very clearly the other person is going to catch the mail very easily. Next point, edit emails before sending. As I said in the previous one, you have to do the proofreading. You have to see whether there is any mistake in it or not. See, it's okay if you are sending the mail to your family members, friends. It's personal. But when it is a formal or official one, you have to be very attentive and alert before sending it. You have to see everything, the spellings, the punctuation marks, every grammatical error, right? You have to identify, and when you feel it okay, then only you have to click the button send. So here, sending them out to avoid embarrassment. Take pride in your finished message. When you have written, when you have done the proofreading, when you feel confident, yes, I have done the work perfectly. Then, when you get a confidence, take pride in your finished message. When you feel that, okay, it's done very perfectly, confident, then you can simply send it. Make sure your message is accurate, brief, and clear, as well as attractively presented. Okay, attractively presented. In this way, it will be understood and will achieve the desired results. To get a desired the what results you are expecting, definitely you will what you can say, you will get that result. If your the message is a finished one, perfectly done, then you definitely you may get a good expectation. Next one, keep your password or personal identification number secret, right? You should not reveal your personal ID number to anyone. It should be kept secret. Next one, be sure to hit the right button on the keyboard, right? You should know that which, if you press this button, which alphabet is going to come. And you see, when you type, if you go on typing, or you go on hitting the wrong button all the time, you have to edit that number, you have to delete that, and it's a waste of time, right? So you have to hit the right button on the keyboard. That saves your time and energy too. Next, 14th point is email messages that contains insensitive, insulting, or critical comments are called flames. What we call it as flames means abusive language, right? Avoid such emails. Right, next one, rely on writing skills. Rely means depend on the writing skills rather on emoticons. Emoticons means on the, what you can say, writing with emotions. Right, when you are writing the thing with an emotion, you don't know in which flow what you're writing. If you are anger, you may use some other language, you don't know what you are writing at that moment. Right, so you have to, what you have to, so you have to depend on the writing skill instead of these emoticons and other gimmicks or other tricks, gimmicks. Right, just as a business letter is an ambassador for your company. What is that? By seeing the letter presence, it works like an ambassador, a messenger of your company. So is your email too. By reading the email also, it tells what type of person you are, what good qualities you have. Okay, don't allow the speed and ease of email to make your message abrupt. Yes, abbreviated and error filled. What it is said that your message should be complete one. It should not be abrupt. It should not be suddenly stopped. Okay, it should not be abbreviated in a shortcuts. Okay, or it should not be filled with the errors. It means no grammatical mistakes. Write your message with care, considering all the rules of modern business letter writing. Next one, never think that you are talking to computer. Right, so you may think that you may be talking to means when you're typing on the means when you're tapping the keys of a computer, you won't see a person who is sitting behind, means who is going to look after that message. So you have to identify that the message what you're tapping is going to be read by some live person. So there is a real live person at the other end. Remember that when you consider the wording, style and tone of your message, so you have to select the words, style and the tone of your message very attentively and very cautiously. Right, next one, do not write phrases or sentences in capitals. So, what does it mean? You should not write sentences in capitals. Take off the caps lock. So, when you type an email, every word in the sentence should not be in a capital. You have to follow the English grammar. At the end, when the sentence begins, it should have a capital letter. The rest of the letters are going to be the smaller. So, you have to follow the grammatical rule. Even though you want to get noticed, means even if you want to highlight that particular point, then also you should not type every letter in a capital. Do not use capitals in email messages. Right, this is like shouting. Previously what we have seen, flames. Right, what do you mean by flames? It means that you are abusing someone, you are passing critical comments on the other person. That is known as flames. And the other one is what, shouting means what, if you use capital letters in your email, it seems as if you are shouting. It is a rude and will usually be counterproductive. You won't get a productive from it. It's a good result from it. Do not use excessive punctuations. Okay, where it is required, there only you have to use the punctuation marks. As I said, you have to follow all the grammatical rules, English grammatical rules. Next point, replace from formal salutations. See, formal salutations and informal salutations. When you're going for a formal salutation, you have to use dear Leslie. Yes, so, dear Leslie is a formal, Leslie is the name of a person. Dear Leslie is a formal salutation, and with hi Leslie is a informal or even just by Leslie. right? When writing informal mails, when you're writing informal mails, you can use hi or you can use simply Leslie. Use formal greetings such as dear Mrs. Leslie while writing business email. Similarly, replace your sincerely. See, when we write a formal letter, what we write? Leave taking. Yours sincerely. So instead of that, what they are saying, that best wishes. So yours sincerely for the formal and best wishes for your informal letters. While signing off on an email, avoid using terms such as to whomsoever it may concern. This point you have to avoid, right? Next point, give your messages a clear and specific subject heading, right? What is given when you're giving a message, it should be have a clear subject heading. People are most likely to read important looking emails first. See, the business person, they get so many mails a day, so they will just give importance to the mails which are highly important. So if you give the message, means if the subject is given in such a manner, so that they can easily identify from that bulk messages, so it should give look importance to the mails first. Also, don't compose a new message every time you need to reply, as it will break the thread of the subject and probably cause the recipient to misplace important information quite easily. Suppose if you are continuous in touch with that person through mail, then your subject matter should be common, so that they can easily identify from that bulk messages. Next one, don't spam or forward chain mails. You may see this word in your mobiles also. When you get a call, it is displayed as a spam call, means it's a commercial call, right? Means which is not personal, which is not so important. So you have to stop that thing and forward chain mails. So ensure that you never forward any personal chain mails or other personal emails to business colleagues from your business account. Yes, what you have to do, see, when in the WhatsApp groups, you are using your mobiles, you have WhatsApp group. In that you have created so many groups, right? You have created a family group, friends group, colleagues group, everything. So in that way, what happens, the message which you want to send to your friends group, unknowingly you have forwarded it to some other group, then you have to be feel embarrassed about it, right? And such type of things you have to avoid in the business mails also. You have to see to whom you're sending, and then you have to click it, right? This is considered spamming and is rude. It is not correct. It will also create an unprofessional impression. What happens, it gives a bad impression on the clients who are in contact with you about you in your workplace or with your clients. The last point in etiquette is this one. What is protect company confidentiality, the secrecy, right? Always check what kind of information you are allowed to send over emails, as you could mistakenly reveal confidential company information to people who might misuse. Nowadays what happened, you have to there is a lot of hacking going on, right? The important confidential reports are being hacked by the hackers. So when the thing is very confidential, you should not send it through emails, right? Means you have to, if you are sending it through email, it should be maintained very secretly, and it should not be revealed to every person. It should not be told to the people who are around you, whom you can't trust. With hacking becoming very common, it is of the utmost very importance that information be protected. Yes, information be protected and not just sent over common unprotected email services. Okay, I hope you might have understood this topic netiquette. Now, I'll explain again that from netiquette, it's a direct question where what is netiquette and how a person, what rules they have to follow. If they ask you the question, then you can directly go with this 21 points, and it's the answer of 5 marks. And you have another internal choice question here is about regarding the emotional intelligence. Yes, the choice is yours. Which answer you feel comfortable to read for your exam, you can go with it. Thank you.